So, students, in the last lesson, we have learned about land resources, the importance of land resources. We have also talked about the various causes of land degradation. In this topic here, we will be discussing about another important part of land resource, that is soil. By definition, soil is the uppermost layer of the earth's crust in which plants grows. In other words, we can say that soil is that part of the land which supports the growing of all types of vegetation. Let me remind you, not all the layers of the land supports the growth of vegetation, but usually it is only some layers of the land which is called soil or falls in the category of soil supports the growth of plants and vegetation. Usually there is a measurement that is considered that up to 3 meters from the surface of the land, 3 meters below is considered to be the layer of the soil, and it's only this layer that supports the growth of plants and vegetation. That is why soil is considered to be the basic resource for agriculture. Without soil, agriculture will not be possible. The formation of the soil is a very long process and can take millions of years to form just a few centimeters of soil in depth. That is why soil is sometimes considered to be non-renewable resources because of the long process of its formation. The components of the soil can be classified into two groups: organic components and inorganic components. By organic components, it means that the organic components of the soil are formed by the decomposition of dead animals and plants, which are also called humus. You see, when plants or animals died, their dead bodies, they decomposed, and after many years they get mixed with the soil and they provide nutrients to the soil, which are called humus. This humus played a very important role in giving fertility to the soil and hence help in the growth of plants and other vegetation. Another components of the soil are inorganic components. Inorganic components of the soils are mainly constituted of weathered rock materials or broken rock materials. So what are the factors that affect the soil formation? There are various factors that led to the soil formation, and here are the major factors: relief features, time, climate, parent rock, vegetation, and other living organisms. Quickly, by relief features, it means the different types of landforms or land features. For examples, we have plains, we have mountains, and we have plateaus. And in each of these landforms, the soil types is different. Soil formation also depend on time. Like we have said earlier, the process of soil formation takes time, sometimes of millions and millions of years. That is why we can see that there is a difference in the soil which has been formed recently over a few years and those soils which have been formed over thousands and thousands of years ago. Another factors that led to the formation of soil is climate. By climate, it means temperature, humidity, and rainfall. That is why we have different types of soils, depends on different climates. In those regions which have heavy rainfall, you will find that the soil is different when compared to the soils which experience, or in the regions which experience dry type of climate. Soils also depends on parent rocks. We know that rocks, they lay the foundation for formation of soil. That is why we have different types of soils depend upon their rocks or depend upon their parent rocks, because it is these rocks that can lead to the formation of different types of soil. Soils also depends upon the available of vegetation and other living organisms, like we have just explained about humus content. Humus, it is the content, or it is the decomposition of that animals, remains of animals and plants. So in those areas where there are abundant animals and vegetation, the soil formation or the soil types is different than those regions where, or in those areas where there is less availability of animals, plants, and other living organisms. Besides these, the soil formation, or we can say that the nature of the soil, also changes through time because of erosion process. Erosion is due to the forces of running water, glaciers, and winds and temperatures. And for many years, these forces like running water, glaciers, winds, and temperature, they changes the nature and characteristic of the soils over the years. Well, students, let me ask you, if we start digging through the land surface and try to go inside it, what do you think we will find? Well, at first, at the top layer of the land, we see that there are vegetation covers, isn't it? Right? We see that there are plants, and then after that, we have to clear the plants or vegetation in order to go through it. As we go through inside, you will find the roots of these plants and vegetation, isn't it? And then after that, at certain level, as we go inside, we will find that these roots of the plants and vegetation will start to disappear, and instead there will be rocks or broken rocks materials, small rocks and stones, isn't it? Right? And then if we go deeper, much deeper into that, we will find that these rocks materials started to get bigger and bigger, and there will, to a certain level, you will come across that these rocks are so huge, are so big, that it becomes difficult to dig through or to pass through them, isn't it? So what does this tells us? This tells us that the layers of the soil, or the layers of the land, there is different in each stage, in each layer, or in each horizon, right? So that is why soil can be classified into different layers or horizons. As you can see from this picture, these are the different layers or the different horizons of the soil. Observe this picture. You will see at the topmost layer, it's horizon O and horizon A, and together horizon O and horizon A is considered to be the true soil, because it is in this layer that humus or organic content are found, and it is this layer which is the most fertile part of the soil. And as you go deeper into that, you will reach horizon E. Here you will find that the humus content, or the remains of living organisms such as plants and animals, is becoming lesser and lesser, and you will find more minerals and rock materials. After horizon E, you will come across the B horizon, which is called subsoil. Here you will find minerals like aluminium and iron. All right, and after horizon B, you will reach this horizon C, and in horizon C, the components here are mainly consist of the parent rocks materials, which are responsible for the formation of the different types of soil. Horizon R consists mainly of unbroken or solid rocks, which are known as bedrock, right? So this is the soil profile, or these are the various layers of our soil. Different regions in India have different types of landforms, different types of climates, as well as the periods of their formation is also different. And that is why even the soils in India are different from one region to another region. Based on this, here is the classification of the soil types in India. And in India, soils are classified into 6 main types. That is alluvial soils, black soils, laterite soil, red and yellow soils, arid soils, as well as forest and mountain soil. Now let us see in detail each one of these type of soils in India. Alluvial soils are found mainly in the river valleys of the northern plains, and out of the 6 types of soils found in India, alluvial soils are considered to be the most fertile soil. So alluvial soils are the most fertile soil in India because alluvial soils are also called transported soils. Why? You see, alluvial soils are formed by the deposition of sediments brought mainly by the 3 major rivers of India, that is the Indus, the Ganga, and the Brahmaputra rivers. You see, when these rivers originate, or they started the journey from the Himalayas, they flow into the northern plains of India. And throughout their journey, these rivers, they carry with them all types of sediments, from mud, clay, sand particles, alright, silt. These sediments which are being carried by these rivers, when they reach the northern plains of India, they deposit the sediments all over the northern plains of India, and that is how alluvial soils are formed. And we will find that alluvial soils are distributed throughout the northern plains of India, as you can see in this map. And these are also the regions which are the most fertile regions in India. And because of that, since alluvial soils are very fertile, these are also the regions where agriculture is very developed. So as we have learned, alluvial soils are formed due to the deposition of sediments brought down by the rivers. So this means that the sediments are continuously being deposited by the rivers over the plains of India over the years. Hence, alluvial soils can be classified into 2 types, mainly Khadar and Bhangar soil, or the Khadar alluvial soil and Bhangar alluvial soil. So let us see the difference between the Bhangar and Khadar soil. Bhangar soil, Bhangar alluvial soil, this is the old alluvial soil, whereas the Khadar soil is the new alluvial soil. You see, as we have said, or we have learned, that the rivers are continuously deposited these sediments over the plains of India. So this means that there are those sediments or alluvial soil that has been deposited way back over the years, whereas on the other hand, there are these new alluvial soil, new sediments which have been deposited recently. So therefore, Bhangar is the old alluvial soil and Khadar is the newer alluvial soil. Bhangar alluvial soil, this soil is found far from the river basins, which means they are found far from the banks or the valleys of the rivers, whereas Khadar soil is found close to the river basins. Bhangar soil, since it is the old alluvial soil, it is less fertile and therefore they are not very suitable for agriculture or for growing crops. Whereas the Khadar soil, since they are the new deposits of sediments, therefore they are very fertile and are very suitable for agriculture. So this is the difference between the Bhangar alluvial soil and the Khadar alluvial soils. Another type of soil found in India is the black soil. The black soil is also known as regur or black cotton soil, and it is formed due to the weathering of barren rock materials, mainly the basalt rocks. You see, when hot materials called magma are released or pushed outside from the vent of a volcano, they spread all around the area surrounding the volcano in the form of lava. Please take note here that those hot materials, when still inside a volcano, they are called magma, but when they are released outside of a volcano, they came to be known as lava. These lava, after many years, when they cool down, right, or cools off, they form what is known as the basalt rocks. It is these basalt rocks, which are mainly black in color, that form the black soils in India. That is why black soil is also known as sedentary soils, which means that the black soils, they remain on the rocks where they had developed. Which types of rocks? Mainly the basalt rocks, which are formed due to the cooling down of the lava of a volcano. One of the characteristics of black soil is that black soils have very good moisture retention, or it means that it can hold or contain water. The reason is because black soils, they contain about 60% of clay. You know, in many villages in India, there are various items such as pots that are being made out of clay to store water, isn't it? Because this clay can hold or contain water. Black soils are found in the states of Maharashtra, Western Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, parts of Gujarat, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, and Tamil Nadu. You can see from the map there, the colored, which is colored in dark gray, those are the regions where black soils are mainly found in India. Black soils are also locally known as regur soil. The word regur is derived from the Telugu word regura, or black cotton soils, because black soil is very ideal for the growing of cotton. Here is an example of the part of the black soil which is used for cotton plantation in India. Another type of soil found in India is the red and yellow soil. You might ask the question, what is the reason for the red color in the soil? The answer is, the red color in the soil is due to the presence of iron in it. Alright, let us take an example here. All of us, we know iron. Iron is being made into various products, alright? Take an item, any item made out of iron. Let us take here a steel pipe. We know that a steel pipe is made out of iron, isn't it? You put that steel pipe outside of your house, alright, without any cover, leave it there outside for a few days or a few months, okay, leave it there in the rain, right, and you will find that after a few weeks or months, that steel pipe will start to change color. It will start to rust, isn't it? What is the reason for that? The reason is that because that steel pipe, it contains iron, and when iron are exposed to the air or water such as rain, it changes color and that is why you will get that rusty pipe or rusty steel pipe where it changes into yellow or red color. Same thing therefore happens with the soil here. This type of soil, after many years of being exposed to the air, right, of being exposed to the rain, okay, they changes color, that is into the red and yellow color. Therefore, this is called red and yellow soil. So here we have the map of India that shows us the regions where red and yellow soils are found. Red and yellow soils are found in the areas of low rainfall, mostly in the states of Odisha, Chhattisgarh, the southern parts of Ganga Plains, and parts of the Western Ghats. Please observe and study this map, and you can see there in red or yellow color that indicates the red and yellow soils in India. Another type of soil found in India is the laterite soil. Here are some of the characteristics of laterite soils. Laterite soil is found in areas of high temperature and heavy rainfall. Laterite soils are soils of the monsoon climate, and this soil is intensively leached. What is leaching? Leaching is the process of removal of topsoil and the loss of soil nutrients due to very heavy rainfall. From the beginning of the lesson, we have learned that the uppermost layer of the soil is the most fertile part of the soil, isn't it? That is why, since this soil is found in areas of very heavy rainfall, especially during the monsoon season, that is why most of this top layer of the soil is being washed away by water, and hence laterite soil, it is less fertile or it lacks fertility. Laterite soils are found in the hills of Karnataka, Odisha, Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh, and the hilly areas of Assam and Meghalaya. So this is the image representation of laterite soils, and like we said, laterite soils lacks fertility, and the only way to grow crops or cultivate in the laterite soils is by using chemical fertilizers. So here is another type of soil found in India, that is the arid soil. Some of the characteristics of arid soils are given as follows. Arid soils are generally sandy in texture, and their color ranges from red to brown color. Arid soils are found in regions which have mainly hot and dry climate. Next is, this type of soil is also saline in nature and low in humus content. This is due to the reasons of very high temperature and due to the dry climatic conditions. You see, because of very high temperature, most of the water or moisture from the soil is lost, and what is left behind is only salt. That is why this soil we say is saline in nature. This soil is also low in humus content. You see, in the hot and dry climatic conditions, it is very difficult for vegetation to survive. Hence, in those regions we will find that there are less vegetation cover. Also, even living organisms, right, they cannot survive in those types of condition, and that is the reason, since there are very less availability of vegetation cover or living organisms, therefore this soil is also low in humus content. Since arid soil occurs in areas of high temperature, evaporation is faster and the soil becomes dry, just like a desert. So this is an image of arid soil or desert soils, right? You can see there are very few vegetation cover, and just from by looking at this image or picture, you can see that the climatic conditions here are very hot and very dry. So arid soil is found mainly in the states of Rajasthan and parts of Gujarat. You can see here in the map. That is also where the Thar Desert or the Great Indian Desert is found, and the area is mainly covered by arid soil. And last but not the least, we have the forest soils. Forest soils are found in the rainforest in the hilly and mountainous areas. However, please remember that the forest soils are not the same in all areas, since they are found on the hills or mountains. Right, we know that hills and mountains, they have different heights, right? That is why the soils also are different. For example, as we go higher and higher up a hill or a mountain, you will find that the soil types or the forest soil types are also different or changes. For example, soils in the lower parts of the valleys are fertile, but in the snow covered areas of the Himalayas, the soils are acidic and they has low humus content. The reason is because in the higher altitude of a hill or a mountain, the temperature is low or the climate is cold, and some of these areas are covered by snow throughout the year, and that is why the soil, the nature of or the characteristic of soil also is different here as compared to the lower areas of a hill or mountains or in the lower valleys. So there you have it. These are the 6 main types of soils found in India: the alluvial soils, black soils, red and yellow soils, laterite soils, arid soils, and the forest or mountainous soils.